Hey Josiah, I have a special book called Floss. It's about this little dog whose name is Floss. Here we have our first picture. We have a ball and some sheep. Floss. Floss was a young border collie who belonged to an old man in a town. She walked with the old man in the streets and loved playing ball with the children in the park. So over here she is walking with the old man in town, and here she's playing ball. There she is with the old man. He's talking to her. He said, "My son is a farmer," the old man told Floss. "He has a sheepdog who is too old to work. He needs a young dog to herd sheep on his farm. He can train a border collie like you." Here are some pictures. That's another border collie who's getting too old to herd sheep. They help bring the sheep together. And here's the house where Floss is going to go live. So Floss and the old man traveled away from the town with its streets and houses and children playing ball in the park. They came to the heather-covered hills of a valley where nothing much grew except sheep. Over here is Floss on the train. She's telling everybody goodbye through the window. Here she is laying there. And here is the valley where they are going to live now. Somewhere in her memory, Floss knew about sheep. Old Nell, that's the older border collie, soon showed her how to round them up. The farmer trained her to run wide and lay down, to walk on behind the shed and to the pen. She worked very hard to become a good sheepdog. So over here are some pictures of her learning how to be a sheepdog. Here she is running with the sheep, getting them all together. But sometimes Floss woke up at night. While Nell lay sound asleep, she remembered playing with the children and rounding up balls in the park. She misses the children. See, there she is laying awake thinking about the kids. The farmer took Floss up the hill one day to see if she could gather the sheep on her own. She was rounding them up when she heard a sound. At the edge of the field, the farmer's children were playing with a brand new black and white ball. There she is, rounding up the sheep all by herself. There's the kids playing ball, and see Floss's ears perk up. She hears them playing ball. There she goes running after the ball. Floss remembered all about children. She ran to play with their ball. She showed off her best nose kicks, her best passes. She did her best springs in the air. "Hey, Dad, look at this," yelled the children. "Look at Floss." The sheep started drifting away. So Floss is supposed to be watching the sheep, but she started playing ball and the sheep got away from her. See, look at all the sheep running through the clothes. The sheep escaped through the gate and into the yard. There were sheep in the garden and sheep on the road. "Floss, lie down." The farmer's voice was like thunder. "You are supposed to work on this farm, not play." He took Floss back to the doghouse. See, Floss looks sad. She's getting yelled at because she didn't do her job. Here she is in the doghouse. Floss lay and worried about balls and sheep. She dreamed about the streets of town and the hills of the valley, children and farmers all mixed together, while Nell had to round up the straying sheep. See, there's Nell rounding up the sheep and the children checking on Floss. But Nell was too old to work every day, and Floss had to learn to take her place. She worked so hard to gather sheep well that she was too tired to dream anymore. The farmer was pleased and ran Floss in the dog trials. "She's a good worker now," the old man said. So the dog trials, when all these people are watching, and the dog has to round up sheep, like in a competition, like at the fair. Over here, she's rounding up some sheep. And there she is standing with all the other dogs that were in the show. And there she is with her new owner. the children still wanted to play with their ball. "Hey, Dad," they asked, "can old Nell play now?" See, this is the old sheepdog who's too old to work anymore. But Nell didn't know about children and play. "No one can play ball like Floss," they said. So the farmer gave it some thought. The farmer over here talking to Floss. "Go on then," he whispered to Floss. The children kicked the ball high into the air. Now Floss is going to play ball. Floss remembered all about children. She ran to play with their ball. She showed off her best nose kicks, her best passes. She did her best springs in the air, and they all played ball together. The whole family's playing ball now. And there's the ball with the sheep. I like that story about Floss. I think it's pretty cool when dogs have jobs. Can you think of any other dogs that have jobs? Maybe fire dogs and police dogs. They all have jobs. It's the end of our book.